Hello Lorenzonite, welcome back to space. Here we have the Duna exploratory vehicle mission thing, and in the previous episode it got to orbit, assembled. It was quite difficult to dock it because one of the ships, well, we had two ships and one pilot, that's it. We got a puncture in the oxidizer tank here and lost about 200 units of it. That's a fairly significant loss, but it shouldn't stand in the way of mission continuation. So we can go ahead and plan a course for Duna actually. Let's target that wonderful planet and generate a maneuver node. Let's see, that's actually pretty close already. Then we can move it a little bit this way. Of course, it's important that your ejection angle lines up with well, the direction of orbit that Kerbin is already following around the Sun. For optimal efficiency, you need to make sure that it does. Let's see. Closest approach, target at closest approach. We need to go. We need to be going slightly slower. Can we get there faster? No. We can't get there faster. What's our phase angle? It's it's 0.1 degree different. That's really good. But why are we then not getting an intercept? Let's see. Do we really need to wait them 5 days more? Closest approach 1.7. Can we not get that closer? 1.718. No, this is not closer. Damn it. This is bang on target. Or it would be. Let's scroll forward those. I find it hard to believe that these 4 days would make a significant difference. Although 4 days, could that be like the difference between closest approach? No, Mars would be further along, but so would we be. Oh god damn it. Could we do a mid-course correction to catch it then? Am I just mucking about senselessly now? We need to be going slightly slower, so if we make a bigger arc around the Sun. We're completely in the same plane, so that's not it. Let's try a slightly different burn point, like over here, with a bit more kick. This way wouldn't work as well, but we're getting closer to the planet. Weirdly enough. Closest approach here is a mere... Oh, it's 1,000,000 kilometers. That's actually not so mere. 800,000 kilometers. 1,000,000 again. Is this really the best way? Why is it so hard to get an approach suddenly? I used to be good at this. Thought I was good at this game, damn it. Well, it ought to be here somewhere. Come on, where is my indicator? 700,000. 800,000. 1.4 million. I have stopped comprehending. Okay, we will time warp for a few days. We can't warp faster than 100 times, obviously, because we're in a very low orbit. Darn it. And on the point of time warping, something that will be important to take into account is the fact that if we progress game time without focusing the vessel, the DangIt mod doesn't actually break things. It will count the age on parts so that they will then, after that period of time has elapsed, have a appropriately higher chance of breaking, but they don't actually suffer through the reality of, well, possibly breaking parts. So I feel that switching to a different vessel, or indeed the tracking station, and then doing some time warping is akin to cheating. So what I'm going to do instead is just push out our orbit a little bit further, so that we then may do more time warping. Also, this engine, these two nuclear engines on the big ship will take quite a long time to get up to speed. Quite a long time indeed. I'm thinking like half an hour, 45 minutes ish. So yeah, it won't hurt if we start from a slightly higher orbit. I'm thinking a 300 kilometer parking orbit, somewhere along those lines. We'll probably not get away with doing our burn in one orbit anyway. We'll have to do a series of perigee kicks. Because look at how slow that is increasing. That is ridiculous. Well, at least we can leave this debris behind. Oh, I may have underestimated how long this burn would be. Sheesh. And I need to find some way to get rid of this excess liquid fuel also, because that's now just ballast. Right, we're at 200 kilometers by 340. So we can cut the engines and coast forward to the 340 point. Look, there goes the debris. Bye bye space debris. That is good at least. And now we can burn from this point, at least for a bit. The ship wobbles and flexes as it goes along its orbital path, but that's alright, because I think the joints are strong enough to allow for such wobbling and flexing. That is perfectly fine. On a side note, Bill Kerman in Safe Haven, our space station, has about 108 days of life support remaining. Now an optimal transfer to Mars will take 70 days in the real solar system. Oh, we're so overstocked on snacks. We have 1240 days worth of food. So yeah, we could go places or get lost or miss launch windows. That is fine. But Bill doesn't, so once we get to Mars, we need to send him some supplies. Obviously not from Mars, but Duna, apologies. We will be interrupting this mission at some point to send up a module for the Safe Haven. Hopefully I can find some contracts that need parts tested in low Kerbin orbit. Low Kerbin orbit. So then we have a justifiable reason to sending Bill parts. Otherwise we may have to dismantle the space station and bring him home. Now that would be a pity, because we like having space stations. At least I do. Right, now let's see how bad we can time warp this bad boy. Ooh, 1,000 times. Not 10,000 times. But 1,000 times is still pretty darn slow. It will still take actual seconds. It's still several seconds to an hour, like 3 seconds. Yeah, an hour is 3,600 seconds, and now times 1,000, that's 3.6 seconds per hour. That's still almost that's a minute per day. Damn it, that's still too slow. Can go to the map. I think it will be pretty hard to plan a maneuver with everything going around like that. It could actually be those 4 days, because the 4 days are a lot more significant here in the Kerbal solar system than they are in the real solar system. Oh, look at that, the remote tech thing is doing its thing. It's drawing the lines of connectivity. Sweet. Well, I'm out of patience, so I'm going to try and make a encounter again. It is not like we will be able to actually perform such a burn anyway, so I'm not really sure why I'm going through the trouble of making a perfect maneuver node, because we will end up burning over several orbits anyway. It's just that I want to be sort of sure that we can actually meet up with... What's this? Oh, here we find an encounter with the moon. We don't want that. I just want to make sure we actually can meet up with the planet before setting off. And of course we can. I'm being silly. You can always get an encounter from anywhere by applying enough delta V. So that means we are going to start working at escaping from Kerbin. I mean, the optimal efficiency challenge, we're not going to win that anytime soon anyway, because we're going to be burning in, well, massive increments. Putting the maneuver node here to... Not really, the amount doesn't really matter, but I want the direction and I want the point, because I found that a nice point to start burning. And let's see, 600 meters per second. Oh, it's only 7 minute burn. And we need about 1 kilometer, so it's actually only about 10 minutes burn time. That's not as bad as I was expecting. I was expecting more something along the lines of forever. So that's okay then. We will fire up the engines and start our trip. And we will worry about the exact intercept later. Now I'm going to try and use time warp. For this I used a quick save. I hope that's allowed. I could just wait out the full 7 minutes, but that would be boring. So let's see what happens if we fire up the physical time warp. The whole ship gets compressed. And is it braking? It is braking! Oh shit. So we can't really do that. No. I'm going to... Okay. So that was dangerous. Maybe we can get away with it without SAS on. Or maybe just 2 times. So I really would like to have some physical time warp at my disposal, because otherwise... Well, these burns will take forever. Of course, I kinda brought that on my own. Brought that on myself, on my own persona, but... 3 times. It's like an accordion already. Nah, it's not really safe for Kerbals. Orbit is out to 600 kilometers now. I suppose we ought to start taking science readings as well, but the only disposable science instrument we brought is a thermometer. And I hit that on the command pod. Well, I didn't hide it, but tucked it away. Ah, there it is. Lock the temperature. We can't do that. Oh, we're high over Kerbin already. Yeah, we'll worry about that later. Alright then. This line is important. Our apoapsis needs to grow roughly along that line, which we can't see from here conveniently enough. But that's what needs to happen, and it will take a long time still. I'm wondering if I should cut the video and just do the burn, or talk you through it. It's going to take forever otherwise, but you know, I kind of promised not to cut the video, so everyone can be the judge as to the authenticity and validity of my observance of the challenge rules. Let's try some more time warping. No, 4 times is too hazardous. Actually, any time warping is too hazardous. Yeah, we are no longer in control of the vessel. It's still in one piece though. It's going faster than I expected to burn, but it will still take a long time. We already added about 300 meters per second to our speed, and of course, well, several dozen meters per second will have gone in completely the wrong direction due to all the pogoing about, but overall, yeah, it's going alright. Until we're about here, we need to stop burning and wait for the next periapsis, otherwise our trajectory is going to be too weird. Yeah, I'm going to cut out the video until the next periapsis when we make it. Let's see where that line is. This is why spaceflight is boring if you do it reliable, because you know, here we have two engines that are not doing anything. We're just towing them along, saving them for the way back, which is a smart thing to do, because of course on a 70-day voyage it really doesn't matter if your burn on day one takes twice as long or not, but you know, for us attention addicted junkies of computer screens, we like things to happen quickly. So, engines off, video off, I'll see you in a bit. And video on! Here we are at our second periapsis, or well, nearest makes no difference. And we've been burning for a few minutes again, and our orbit is now stretching out past the orbit of Minmus. Unfortunately, it's not quite that well centered as I would like to. We have a few degrees offset. We have a velocity escape vector that's a few degrees offset from, well, from being perfect. That is a pity, but it's not necessarily a problem. So let's see. Kerbin escape will happen in 3 days. That's also when our window will happen. So I propose to let the time warp occur. No, first I'm going to try one more time to actually get an encounter. With that bloody red planet. And hope it's not actually bloody, but that's a different matter. Let's see, here we have something that's really close. So this is again appearing to be horrendous. Why can I not get a decent encounter with this crazy planet? What happens if we do it now from here? This is looking better. That's 660. 660 is not that bad, but now it's growing further away. That's 120. 500. 670 again. 530. Yeah, gone. Alright then. Let's try it from here. I'm just sick of these crazy maneuvers. I'm not actually sick of the crazy maneuvers, I just am getting frustrated that for some reason I don't seem to be able to make them. There we go. And that's pretty much brute forcing it, but because I have a feeling that this is fairly delta V intensive. But let's see, focusing on Duna, and then we can fine tune that orbit. 20. Let's see if we can get the periapsis anywhere near to the planet. That would be nice. 15. So that's just 3,000 more. 2,000. 8,000. Ooh, that actually got really close. Yeah, that's more like it. And there we go, 170 kilometers. That's what we want, because we actually want to slow down on rockets. We're not going to try aerobraking with deadly re-entry. That is a little bit too dangerous. And God, I hope that this episode is not too horrifically boring. And I also hope that, let's see, this maneuver node is 900 from here? Holy shit, I burned in the wrong direction or something. Oh well, we'll hope that the rocket is capable of doing that. And let's observe if... yeah, this is the right direction to establish orbit in. What tends to happen to me sometimes is that I plan a picture-perfect interplanetary course, at least from the looks of it, and then it's actually not that perfect, and I end up going in orbit around the target body, but in the wrong direction, which makes it impossible to rendezvous with anything like moons. Right, so it bears saying that I designed this rocket with delta V to spare, but what also happened is that we already had a tank rupture. So we could end up in a situation where fuel is actually going to be pretty tight. I mean, we already expended about 1 kilometer per second. That was about 1/5 of the fuel. That's including the leak though. So after this burn we should have a little bit more than half of our fuel remaining, which of course equals more than half of the delta V remaining. So you don't need to lug that first half of fuel around. And I estimate that we should require less than 1 kilometer per second to establish orbit around Duna, especially if we actually manage so close a pass. And that should leave us with enough to go back and frolic around the Duna system. That is with no more tanks leaking and stuff. So I hope that doesn't happen. So here we go, firing up the engine. And there is our target marker. Now I made a very precise maneuver node, and we're now going to do a very imprecise burn. Of course that doesn't really work well together, but yeah, there's nothing to it. We kind of have to do it that way. This burn will take 9 minutes, which I will again cut out of the video, because that's really boring, and we've already established that time warping isn't really feasible. So see you in 9.2 minutes. And there we are, 15 minutes later, and with 15 minutes, I meant 9 minutes later, we have 75 meters per second left to go. And oh, look at that. This is neat. It's hardly ever this neat. We can just get rid of the maneuver node and observe this. Wow. Well, let's just keep going until this number doesn't get any more smaller. So yeah, that's amazing. That's 8, 9, 6. Let's go slower. 4. So we need a new maneuver node to make this even smaller, but we'll make that from the safe embrace of interplanetary space. So let us time warp to the interface there. Let's see, everything appears to still be in order. I want to go through there with a relatively low amount of time warp, which we did. Woohoo, wonderful. We are now slated for a 4,000 kilometer periapsis of Duna, which would be great for a photographic flyby, which is of course not what we're gonna do. We are going to establish orbit around that thing. So let's focus on Duna and do the same trick again, basically, where we zoom in real close, tweak the maneuver node to fit, oh, that's not the way to go. Here we go, this is getting closer. Ooh. It's still a bit finicky, this, but you know, we are getting there. No. Oops. This is nice. We're just gonna crash on it. No, 400 kilometers. This is also sufficient. Look, that is only 3.1 meters per second from here. That is nice. Oh, we're still in time warp pretty hard. Okay. Fine. Let's bring the ship about to do this 3.1 meter per second burn with all the precision we can muster. Because if we can establish a nice approach from here, that is really, really useful. But where, oh where is our maneuver node? Look, there is Kerbin. Wave goodbye to that. Actually, I'm going to add an alarm in the alarm clock here for transfer origin from Kerbin. No, transfer parent sun, yeah, from Duna back to Kerbin, because we need to know that information as well. And alarm in 207 days. Well, okay then. I still haven't found my maneuver node. It's because it's hidden somewhere on the nav ball, because the direction for a burn this small could really be anywhere, because we're talking about things like what coordinates we're gonna pass over on the planet. So yeah, and we fiddled with it from the map screen, but that does not mean I know where it is on the nav ball. But fortunately, there it is. Oh, that's a phone call, so I'll be back after that. And that's that, and now we can work on, well, fiddling with this blue marker on the nav ball, inching towards it at 3 meters per second, and then punching the time warp until we're at Duna. Wonderful. Oh wait, we can do a crew report as well. This is new. In space high over the sun, yes, transmits. No, of course not. Let's see, where is Bob? Is that this capsule? Yeah, so that's gonna be the science capsule. Oh no, 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 we passed it by. Oh, damn it. So the capsule that is bolted to the transfer stage, that's going to be the science repository. All the reports are going in that one. And the samples and everything else. Yeah. Oh, god damn it, now I have to hunt for it again. And as I predicted, we have a little bit more than 50% fuel remaining. That's a little bit low, but once we are in the Duna system, we really don't need a lot of fuel. And we can shed quite some weight on the way back, so that's all good news. So some time warping to get over these past 14 hours. Let's see, there we go. An hour remaining. No, now it's actually an hour remaining. Half an hour remaining. 5 minutes remaining. Okay, now we can ever so slightly burn. And eke out these meters per second. Okay, let's do the rest while looking at. Oh, there we go. We can see it. We can see it happening. Sweet. Look at that. It's wobbling as we speak. Yeah, it's not getting any closer anymore. I think this is pretty much what we... I mean, the rest we can correct from the boundary of the sphere of influence, surely. That's not a big correction. Yeah. Okay, we are on our final approach. Now we need an EVA report from solar space, because we didn't have that yet. Yeah, 88 science. Keep that. And now board again. Alright. Time warp madness can commence. We will get here in just 46 days. Wow, we have a fast encounter. Or a fast transfer. That means at least we don't have to worry about the... We don't have to worry about the safe haven space station for now. I just hope that if another tank gets punctured, that at least then the game will slow down. Oh yeah, the transfer window is now. Bye, bye, bye. Right, time warp engaged again. Duna is a whole lot closer than I was anticipating. A battery is short-circuited. Do we care about that? What battery is it? Tell me the battery that has short-circuited. Surely it's glowing red. Of course it's the battery on the satellite. We don't care about that for now. We will fix that once we leave it. Once we eject it, we will send Bob out to fix it. And fortunately, any failure will kill the time warp, which is nice. Oh, another failure. Reaction wheel failure. That we need to fix. Reaction wheel failure. Which reaction wheel has failed? Reaction wheels operational. Reaction wheels operational. Also on the satellite. Holy shit, that satellite was built by crazy engineers. Well, we'll fix that all in one go. Alright, we are half of the way there. Sustained 2 failures, another battery has failed. Damn it. This one on the Mars vehicle. We'll also fix that before using it. Nothing that is mission critical at this point. We're half the way there. A liquid fuel tank is leaking. This is important. Where? Which one is it? Which one is it? A fuel tank there. Come on. We need that fuel. That's our Ike lander. Come on. Go outside. Grab spare parts. Spare parts. Take spares. Take a few of them. Lights on. Come on. Go, 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 go. Grab the duct tape. Go to that fuel tank. Oh, come on, Bob. Come on, come on. It says no damage, but the fuel is spewing out. Duct tape, duct tape. Duct tape applied. Oh, man. I hope that we managed to save some of the fuel. This time, though, it was liquid fuel leaking. So actually that doesn't matter, because we already had sustained an oxidizer leak. So as long as we leaked less liquid fuel than the amount of oxidizer that was already lost, this was actually a good thing. Ooh, maybe I should have let it leak out. Well, I can't think that fast. So how much did we lose? We lost 21 units. Which is not great, but as I said, we already lost more oxidizer than that. This is the approximate amount of liquid fuel that we have in excess. So we can store that in this tank now. Whew. Wow, we have 21 days to go and Bob is not getting bored this way. Tank of liquid fuel. Surely that's not another one. No. So, on the time warp again. We're getting a lot of failures. These things are supposed to last forever, like 16 years, but a battery is short-circuited. Which one is that? It's getting hard to tell, really. Also on the Ike lander, that's important because that only has a few batteries, but we'll fix that when we use it. Right. Approaching Duna now. I am happy that we saved the engines, because if they are gonna start going every minute. Reaction wheel failure again? Which one is it now? It is the Mars lander, the Duna lander. We will fix that when we need it. Damn it! These failures, man! Fortunately we have 3 command pods with a corresponding amount of spares. But those tank failures, they are the most horrific ones. Anyway, we are approaching Duna. At least Duna's sphere of influence, as the rocket scientists call it. Of course, the sphere of influence is a mathematical simplification, a construct. Duna periapsis at what? Oh, there it is. The game wasn't drawing in the planet. Alright. Let's see about getting that a little bit closer to the actual planet. Wow, that's actually a lot of delta V there. I could have saved all of this by doing it from home, but then I wasn't able to. So that's 76, and then over here we will make a big braking maneuver. That is a kilometer per second. So yeah, that will go fine. Right. So first things first, obviously the sciences. Crew report. No, we're not gonna override the crew report. EVA. Take the data. Take the data, man. Store the experiments. And get an EVA report. Oh man, this is getting to be stressful. I hope our guy actually... Wait, we are burning towards the planet. We need to look for this marker somewhere in the brown area. I hope we have enough fuel. I think we do, but I mean it's about another kilometer per second from here, like 1.2 kilometers per second to establish a close orbit around Duna. Then we can do a Duna landing. That's the first weight shedding of the lot. Then we can proceed to Ike and do more weight shedding, and then we just go home. And Duna to Ike is about 400 meters per second. Yeah, we should be fine. We should be fine. For now though, I just need to find my maneuver node, and then we're gonna go on a big fixing spree because everything is friggin' broken. Why can't I find my maneuver node? Oh, there it is! Hello, maneuver node. Maybe I should inspect the engines as well. But then again, if they work, I'm happy. And the reaction wheels, I don't really need them. They are broken on this one, and I have more. I have one in here, and one in here. Yeah, that will be fine. There we go. So that transfer, man, that incurred quite some failures. And we have about 200 more days. So this was 1/5 of the journey. 200 more days to go. And everything, of course, is getting more and more likely to break. Things like batteries I really don't care about because we have just so many of them. But man. Oh. This went a little bit too well. We are now on a crash course. How? How did that happen? I mean, the maneuver node was clear, wasn't it? Damn it, the ship must be too wobbly. Ah man, I've suddenly lost all confidence. We're gonna run out of fuel, our tanks are gonna explode, we will undock in the Mars lander, then the tanks on the main thing will explode, because then we can't fix them. Should have taken 2 Kerbals, everything is going down the drain in this mission. Ugh! Right, okay, a blip of throttle, we will fix everything. Everything will be fine. Go on. Yes. 100 kilometers periapsis. That's fine. That's fine. And now a maneuver for slowing down around Mars. I mean Duna. Of course I mean Duna. Right. Now on the one hand I want to be high over Duna for deploying the satellite, and on the other hand I really want to be close down so our lander doesn't need to expend too much in the name of in the way of delta V. Of course it's a little bit more than first anticipated that we need to burn off, 1200 meters per second instead of, well, less. Although we can get away with, we don't need as low a orbit maybe. Yeah, 1100 will work. Alright, let's time warp to that beautiful, beautiful red planet. Hope we don't incur any catastrophic failures on the way down there. Our burn now is again 10 minutes. And I'm gonna commence that about 5 minutes before reaching periapsis. That might mean kissing a little bit of atmosphere, but it's going to be really thin atmosphere because of course we're talking about Duna here. Here we go. Oh yes, the ship has been battered by interplanetary space, but here we are, actually at another planet. And we're gonna conquer it. Oh yes we are. And we're gonna do so propulsively because aero braking is for daredevils and we are safety conscious. Firing up the nukes. And locking in the attitude. Here we go. 6 minutes out until periapsis. Is our periapsis dropping appreciably? No, it's not. So yeah, this should be fine. Everything is looking fine. Oh, and what we can do is if we close our orbit. No, this is actually the final orbit that will be good for the satellite as well. And we need to fix it. I was thinking we can maybe drop it in flight when we're at a higher than planned orbit, but of course that would lead us to not being able to fix it. So this dish needs to activate target mission control. This dish needs to target Duna. And this dish needs to activate and target the Duna. Well, our own ship, but it will need to do so after being decoupled. If we can control it from the ship here. I'm not sure we can though. So let's just have it target nothing. Cool. Well, this burn will take another 8 minutes, and I will cut that out for you, and I will cut back in as soon as something interesting happens, like more catastrophic failures, or failures of any kind really. Hopefully not catastrophic ones. See you in a bit. And we're back again. Look at where we are. We are in orbit around Duna. Isn't that wonderful? We can get rid of this maneuver node and we can prepare our reconfiguration of the expedition vehicle, because of course we're going to come into land, leave all our hardware behind and do generally awesome stuff. Of course also science. Let's first finish our orbit insertion. We need to get this down to below something like 1,500, because otherwise Ike is going to come around and mess up our day. That's of course not very nice if that happens. So a little bit more, just a little bit more. Our fuel is running perilously low, but I hope when we come back up from Duna we can put some spare fuel from the lander in the what is now the lifeboat really. So yeah, this mission, its safety is absolutely not guaranteed, but at least we have arrived at our destination. So more science shenanigans, because I think 100 kilometers will count as being close to Duna. Take the data and store the experiments. Store the experiments, yeah. And now take an EVA report. Store, keep that. Climb aboard and get a crew report going. Yeah. So now we have space high and low over Duna. Wonderful. Go back outside again and we'll do the storing trick once more. Take the data. Store the experiments. Wonderful. And now we are going to fix our satellite, because that will be left here forever. Oh, maybe I should have taken some spares. Okay, we will take the spares from this pod. This is the Ike pod that needs the fewest amount of spares, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm just going to take all the spares. Right, we will fix all of this just because we can. Repair battery. Battery repaired. Wonderful. Fix reaction wheel. Ooh, and we managed to save one spare part because Bob is so smart. Isn't that great? Well, we can also, now that he's doing it anyway, fix all the other problems that are plaguing our spacecraft. Of course, these are still minor problems. All these battery failures is... Repair the battery. These battery failures are nothing but expected. The fuel tank failures, 2 of them actually, they were quite horrific actually. So let's fix the reaction wheel. Great. There's a battery here. Of course we need batteries to live, so we want our electrical power on the surface of Duna. We want it really much. Repair the battery. Can we get a reading? No. We got achieve orbit around Duna. Wonderful. We got rewards and everything. Great. So let's get back inside and continue with the reconfiguration effort. I might as well man the I'm gonna man the Ike pod, because what needs to happen now is that we first eject the satellite. That can then go live its merry life of it on its own. Then we disconnect the combination of the Duna and Ike lander. We move them away a couple meters from the mothership, and then we decouple them, upon which we will return the Ike lander to said mothership, and then will we put Bob in the Mars lander, the Duna lander, and we will actually proceed to land. Our orbital period is not too long, it's an hour and 42 minutes. Yeah, that means we can spend several orbits rendezvousing back with the mothership. I'm just thinking, because this lander doesn't have any extra life support on board, which we will need to fill up, it will have about 17 hours worth of life support, which would be enough. First things first though, let's deploy this. There we go. It's a satellite. Isn't that amazing? Let's see if we can actually control it. Mission control. No connection to send the command on. So we don't actually have a connection. We should have put maybe the short range antenna so that these guys could control it, but no, this is now just a relay station with no relay network to work off of. So I don't know if this falls within, if this counts to be within range, but we will see. We might be able to use this at some point in the future, just not today. Alright then, let's proceed with the rest of the separations. And that would be to separate, this is still a double docking port, so this is a reversible separation. Oh wait, actually, why is there a decoupler here? Oh, because upon return... Oh, that's actually a little bit of a design oversight. Upon return, we are not going to be able to dock. Unless we decide not to use the center engine. And if we're not able to dock upon return, then we won't be able to salvage the leftover fuel. Ah, shit. Okay, I'm gonna drain 2 half tanks preemptively. I'm gonna regret this. Okay, let's leave. No, I'm not gonna do it. That's ridiculous. Come on, it's more important that he gets home from Duna. But it is a design oversight that won't work. Darn it. And we'll actually need to grab some fuel from somewhere. No, this is silly. We don't need to top it up. Okay, let's disconnect that and dock. And let's switch to the bit that has Bob in it. here we need to activate the engines. Activate the engines and actually fire them for a little bit. Okay. And then we can turn and fire this decoupler. And we can also activate this engine. Alright. So we can leave it here. Now we have to clamber into, now we have to decouple this, and that means the Mars lander will be on its own and will be unable to be docked with ever again. Decouple the node, and now we need to climb outside. And oh, are you kidding me? I'm such a tool. I was going on and on about... Oh man, I was going on and on about the need to restock the life support in the Duna capsule, and then I just went ahead and didn't do it. Let's see, how much life support do we have in this capsule? Oh, we do actually have a lot of hours there. Alright then. Apparently it wasn't as catastrophic as I thought it could be. Or I'm just going nuts. My money is on the ladder. Alright. So now we just need to reconnect this ship to the big one. We'll save that for later. Duna service module, is that all the way over there now? Whoa. Of course we don't want to chase the probe. Yeah, we want the expeditioner. No, we don't want that. We want the one that's over there, the service module. Also, I might have renamed them a little bit more useful, but oh well. Okay, this engine's gonna go on. And now we're gonna get these fancy docking moves again, where we can't control anything by remote control, and we also can't see anything because it's night, and we also have to do the docking maneuver now. But this, at least this craft is super nimble, so we should be able to do it without too much problems. But not being able to see anything is maybe a problem. Ooh, see, we already fired into it. Set that as a target. And now I just want to kill the velocity. Go on, kill the velocity. And can we now just fire at it? I'm not sure. There's no way this works, right? We're at a full meter per second. We need to flip around and stop that a little bit. But then again, we're so small, maybe we can just get away with that. There it is. Boom! Docked! That was a lot easier than expected. Okay, now we have to get back there, and we will do that through EVA. Wow. Amazing. If all of this is gonna work out, then did I make an amazing Mars expedition or what? Duna expedition. It says Duna everywhere in the screen. Should stop saying Mars, maybe. And I think also the episode has run on for quite long enough again. So once we get Bob inside his lander here, we will finish the episode and continue in the next one, which will be immediately started off, of course, with a hair-raising landing. Oh shit, yeah. Hell yeah. Here we are. Let's do a temperature scan. Where is our science equipment? Let's do the staging. Oh my god, this staging is such a mess. Alright, this looks better. And can we do a parachute? Can we do a measurement? I want to do a measurement. No, we can't, not really. Alright then, look, we spent all this bit of the orbit on shenanigans. Right, let's maneuver node our way to a periapsis of 5 kilometers. I kind of want to land on the daylit side. So like here-ish. Yeah, this seems nice. Ooh, this seems horrible. This doesn't seem nice at all. This should do it. Then we will land at the Terminator somewhere. Yeah. Alright then. Thanks for watching. Hope we don't incur any catastrophic failures between landing, takeoff and rendezvous with the mothership. But for now, I'm Lorenzo. Thanks for watching as always, and see you next time.